Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat and this is episode 3 of my Gap Year Diaries. So after my mental breakdown from episode 1, I decided I wanted to change something. I wanted to prove to myself that, you know what, I've got this. I can do this. So I looked at my bucket list for the year and I picked one thing that scared me the most, a solo trip. So day 1, I woke up in the morning, got ready, headed to the airport, and overall I was feeling a mix of feelings. Like I was excited, I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect, but I just decided I would romanticize the experience. I made a playlist especially dedicated to this trip and I was listening to that and just enjoying the flight ride. So for this trip, I headed to an island, specifically the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So I booked a youth hostel trip, so it's basically budget accommodations and perfect for solo travelers. So I landed and then there was a taxi that came and picked me up to the hotel room. So I checked into my room and headed to the first location, the beach. So I'm generally someone who spends most of my mornings at the beach, so seeing the beach again was not particularly entertaining, and I got on a speedboat that was not going very fast, but I pretended to enjoy it, and yeah. Myself feeling quite lonely and confused. I'd booked a solo trip to an island. I mean, of course I was going to see the beach. So then I decided I'd get myself a huge coconut and then I sat there by the beach staring at the waves. It was a nice cute solo date moment. And then I kind of talked to the camera for a while. And then we headed to the cellular jail for the light and sound show. The light and sound show was pretty good, however it was raining on and off and quite heavily too, so we did not have seating. It was an interesting experience. So day 2, so we woke up at 5 a.m, got ready and headed out and got on a ferry. I expected this ride to be about 15 minutes. After those 15 minutes were done, I realized that it was a 2-hour long ride and it was completely closed. The sun was blaring in my face. I didn't have any signal to use my phone, no movies downloaded. I started searching up flights as soon as I got the signal, texted my parents that I wanted to go home. I felt the worst, but then I decided I was going to force myself to enjoy this trip because this was a once in a lifetime opportunity and I'm not going to be here again. And I'm not gonna, it's gonna be rare for me to do another solo trip. So I thought, you know what, I might as well just enjoy this trip. And if all goes well, I will have better confidence, more experience, and obviously try this again too. So snorkeling was an interesting experience. I saw all kinds of fish. I even saw Nemo. The people who went scuba diving even saw Dory as well. So that was nice. And more than any of those, I socialized with my group. I got to know my team members a bit better, and I found a lost neck pillow. I decided I'd take it. And then before we got on the return ferry, I downloaded my favorite movies, shows, any episodes that I wanted to watch. Fully prepped for this 2-hour ride ferry. I made sure that my phone had charging. Luckily I'd bought my power bank and I was all set. The best part of this trip was definitely open deck. So half an hour into the ferry ride I found out that there were people dancing on the deck, so I decided I'd go check it out. And I joined in and it was so fun, just like such a main character moment. And then I binged a movie and we reached Port Blair again. It was raining as usual, and then we headed back to the hotel. So day 3, I was feeling much better. I had stopped feeling sorry for myself. I started enjoying the trip and I'd made new friends. I was enjoying. I bought myself sweets here and there just to make myself happy and really romanticize the trip. I was listening to music. So today we visited Ross Island and Havelock Island, I think. So we went kayaking. That was so peaceful. Did not get any footage of that, unfortunately, but it was so peaceful. And we headed to Ross Island next. So Ross Island is now known as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep. Sorry for that. And the first thing that greeted us were the deer. They are everywhere, just roaming around like normal animals in between islands. And you guys will not believe how many there were. So even before we saw the deers and the old British buildings, I went parasailing, and this was such a unique experience and really the main character moment for me. So on day 2, I had actually skipped one tourist place, which was Radhanagar Beach, and I really regretted it. So from day 3 till day 5, I made sure I did not miss any spots. I checked out everything, the lighthouse, the spot, every single thing. I saw so many squirrels, so many peacocks, and so many deer. I have never seen so many in my life. So the buggies seemed a bit expensive and unnecessary, so me and my roommate basically just walked the entire island, and I would say it was definitely tiring and very physically testing my boundaries, testing my limits, but I really wanted to just push through and just go for it, because when am I going to get the chance to do this again? Also, day 3 was Diwali and it just kept raining and pouring. So day 4 we basically visited museums. So first stop was the cellular jail. Honestly, it looks so pretty, but to think that this was a place of brutal murder and torture. The tree that they showed, they mentioned that it was a silent witness of all the, I can't even think of a word for it, of all the trauma and distress that went on here. And I loved how they said silent witness. So the clip that played before was the tour guide mentioning a few of the people who, were freedom fighters, and they were like locked up in these jails, and he went on for about 20 minutes non-stop listing people's names. And to think that they did so much for the country and we don't even know what their names are. I thought it was so inspiring, but also so disturbing too. Next up was Asia's largest sawmill. This was interesting. It was fun. We saw the entire wood being processed through. It was really, really loud though. And then we went to this zoo wildlife sanctuary. I'm not sure what it's called, but we saw crocodiles and turtles, tortoises, and it was just like a really nice nature walk. So the sun sets around 5:30 in Andaman, and after that it's like pitch dark. So after this we headed to the sunset point, and that was also quite pretty. I think day 5 was definitely the most adventurous, so we had to be awake and ready by 2 a.m. So we started at 2 a.m. and then a 2-hour long drive, and then a 2-hour wait, and then another 2-hour long drive, and then a ferry ride, and then a boat ride. So this is the boat ride, and I fell asleep on every single one of this, even the boat ride, because I slept really late and I had to wake up at 1 to get ready by 2. It was crazy. And then, as if that wasn't enough, after this whole journey we had a 3 km trek to go see these limestone caves. I was physically drained, but I kept pushing myself through because I wanted to see my boundaries. I wanted to push further. Normally I just give up. I'm so tired, I'm gonna stop here, but this time I was no, I'm gonna push through, because I couldn't actually stop anywhere because my tour guide and my team, my tour group, was walking off, so I could not stay in one place. I had to keep up with them. So after that I was pretty drained and really tired, so I stopped filming. So this was the next day. I was at the airport, and since Port Blair is a defensive port, I could not get much footage. And I was so proud of myself, because on day 2 I said I wanted to quit, I wanted to go back home, and I was scared as to how I'd even make it, and I felt scared that I'm not capable of doing anything. But this trip really proved something to me. I felt so much more confident, and it is a very happy memory to think of. And I think I just learned so much from this trip, the independence, the freedom, and it was really unique and rejuvenating. And at the end I ended up taking someone else's luggage. Our luggage got switched, and I went back to the airport, got it exchanged, and that's okay. I think the entire trip was just such a unique experience, and I would definitely do it again, and I would recommend to anybody and everybody take a solo trip. It is just so, it's going to be really, really challenging, and you're going to feel lonely, but I think that is just so worth it. It's in that discomfort and that struggle that you grow. So this was my solo trip, and this is episode 3 of my Nappy Diaries. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.